We are live, everybody, with the NoDQ review episode number 101. Let me introduce everybody to the moderator, good old Virtue. How's it going, man?
What's up, Aaron? And here we are. We made it this quick. It seemed like not a week ago, but that's right. We did 100 on Saturday evening. So that's what's throwing me off. But we got to get back on track. So we are being joined by the elite panel of NoDQ. And this time around, besides myself and Aaron Rift, we got the West Coast professor Jeff Meacham and Big G back in the house. Big Baller G. What's up, Big Baller G? Before we went live, you didn't say a word. So you must be saving it for your introduction.
Well, I don't like getting into all that, but anyways, I'm doing pretty good. Another work day done. Before we got on, I was watching Anchorman, Ron Burgundy. I love me some Will Ferrell. Love the guy. Funny as hell. Other than that, let's get some wrestling in. Jeff, how you doing, brother?
Thank you.
It's like I tweeted out before we went on the air. I've been up for all but the last 29 hours working and having far too much knowledge for my own good. So let's do the damn thing.
All right, Jeff. And, of course, Aaron Rift. What's up? Nice shirt. Make sure everybody, NoDQ Galaxy, go get the NoDQ review shirt. Are these on the Teespring store now, Aaron?
Yes, NoDQ.com/shirts. We're doing an early plug for that.
There's never an early plug. It's the review. We got a review shirt. What's up, man?
I'm doing pretty good, all things considered. It's been a very busy several days. A lot of news, the accusations, the COVID-19 drama, which is seemingly never ending. We have AEW's Fyter Fest coming up next week. Somebody in the chat room asked about us doing predictions. We'll see how these topics go. Maybe we can address Fyter Fest in a little bit, but we've got some interesting topics to cover right now, so I'm ready to get started.
All right, so before I bring up the first topic, let me make it very clear, NoDQ Galaxy, because we know you can do super chats. No discussion of these accusations. Innocent until proven guilty, no matter the evidence. Now, wrestlers, talent that have admitted their wrongdoings and have dropped off the radar, let's just not talk about them right now and let them go deal with their stuff. I feel bad for everybody involved. Yes, the girls. Yes, some of these talents, because this is a messed up situation. But let's talk about other things in wrestling, okay? Let's take a break from this, from all of that negative news. Oh, wait, I don't know if this is any better, Aaron. COVID-19. So, recently, there was a performance center team member or student that got tested positive, and now they're doing all these testings. And let's see, Adam Pearce, Renee Young, Kayla Braxton. Am I missing anybody? I feel like the list is growing. This COVID stuff is crazy. It's nuts. I just want to know everybody's take because, as Vince McMahon says, there is no sick pal and business will continue. I don't remember anybody in AEW being tested positive, or have they?
No.
No.
So what's being done differently? Like, why now is WWE getting a little surge here? Jeff, I'm going to start with you on this one.
I personally think that they shouldn't have resumed operations at all as far as letting people in or having that many people in the building. I feel that they were the administrators of their own demise here. The fact that 3 people that don't even, Renee's not even on the PC site, is she?
Occasionally, I think.
Right, like once in a blue moon, but she's mainly at her house doing backstage from there. And now, of course, backstage got canceled. She got the COVID. She's had a shitty week. So, Kayla's there all the time. That doesn't surprise me. Adam Pearce is there all the time. That doesn't surprise me. It's one of those things. I've been talking about this for weeks, actually last week or so with my family, with everybody. Why is it okay that we can go certain places, yet we can't go other places? Like, for example, I was recently down in the South Bay with my sister helping paint her house, doing, getting her house ready for thing. It's okay for me to be on the train for 3 hours going to LA, but I can't go out to Pasadena over the weekend to see a movie because that would be a bigger exposure. Huh?
Yeah. Well,
we are so conveniently ignorant of the situation. We just let shit go when it's convenient for us, and it's so stupid. It makes my head explode.
Well, and things are starting to open back up. Some states are, are lessening the restrictions further than others.
Right.
I mean, we had the protests going on. People have been congregating out in public, and now in certain areas, there's hot spots. Jeff, Roman's looking pretty good for making his decision right now, don't you think?
Dude, I think Roman is.
Bring that up.
Oh, no. I appreciate you did because somebody needed to, and I figured it'd be you because you're the Roman guy. But if you didn't, I was going to because Roman all of a sudden looks real smart right now. He ruined WrestleMania. We had to have Goldberg. Dude, Roman Reigns is a health risk. He's a walking, ticking time bomb when he's in remission, let alone when he's actually active with the symptoms, okay? If he catches this, he is dead on spot. Gone, goodbye, so long, Joe. So he's the most intelligent guy on the roster right now, period.
Yep. Now, Big G, thanks, Jeff. Owen, Sami Zayn, there's other wrestlers that did want to mix up with this stuff, and now they're starting to be cases. What is your take on this? It can be a very scary situation. Now, most of these people in this wrestling bubble are healthy.
Yeah.
You know, we should assume this disease attacks the elderly, non-healthy people.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it wouldn't really affect you.
Well,
but what do you think on this whole thing?
Well, see, this is what I think. So you have everybody in a close encounter, pretty much. Yeah, you have them 6 feet apart with the fans now and whatnot. But beforehand, you didn't have any fans, and I don't think you had as many cases until recently. And you have germs flying everywhere, sweat flying everywhere. The stuff can, it's in the air. It can get contracted just like that. I just think Vince needs to look out for his people and worry about their health, because I've been hearing things that people are like angry backstage and they want answers and whatnot. And I guess they're not getting any answers to who. I don't know if they know who if they got, or I don't think they know who got it from, or
you're never going to know the origin, and you know what I mean.
Yeah, but I think they're doing the temperature checks when you go into work and stuff
but
like that.
Asymptomatic doesn't, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's just at this point, I shouldn't be over it, but I am, and they just need to look out for themselves and try to stay healthy. I mean, wash your hands, wear your masks. It'd be weird if you saw the wrestlers wearing masks all of a sudden, but you can't. It'd be hard to breathe because they're running back and forth. It's funny because actually, where I work on the base, somebody actually caught COVID. So everybody's taking extra precaution now. And I mean, you got to wear your mask, people. Don't be stupid. Wash your hands, sanitize, whatever you need to do. Just stay healthy. It's
like we're waiting. Stuff. It's like we're waiting it out for a vaccine and drugs to fight this thing off.
Exactly.
Aaron, Vince McMahon is doing this right, not for the fans. So that's what he says. So they have something to feel good and escape.
Right.
He wants his network money. He needs live TV, and that's why he's doing it. Now, AEW's running shows too. Should all of wrestling, like sports, have disbanded? It's tricky. I mean, what do you think on this? And any super chats out there, or just questions in general from the NoDQ Galaxy yet?
Adrian sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Adrian. He says, I feel sorry for Ric Flair, 70 years old, and he should be nowhere near the PC. I agree 100% on that. Ric Flair should not be there. No reason. And I think WWE is trying to get back to normal as soon as possible. But unfortunately, the virus is dictating things, and we're seeing cases go up. It's a mess right now. People are testing positive for the virus. I do not think things are going to be back to normal until we get a vaccine or there's a cure for it. Should WWE shut down? Should AEW shut down? That's the big question. I mean, probably, but Vince ain't going to shut down. There's too much money on the line. Yeah. And for AEW, they could potentially lose their television deal if they shut down, and that would likely be the end of the company. So right now, AEW and WWE are trying to keep their businesses going at all costs, and it's a tricky situation for sure.
Yeah, and here's the deal. They should cease operations, or at least they have a big library, Jeff, right? You'd think they'd be able to have less people and still be able to put out a TV product. But, I mean, it's nuts because we've complained, we got to get back to normal. We want crowds. This sucks. And when you're pigeonholed into a TV deal where you're not making gate money, right? So it's like they need to protect. Vince is protecting his asset right now.
I have been. Oh, go ahead, Aaron. You were gonna say something. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying with what Michael brought up, WWE can survive a shutdown. Like they could show clips of other shows. They could re-air Raw or even Nitro or episodes of the Monday Night War. They could do stuff like that and they would survive. AEW is in actually, I think, more dire straits because they have the television deal, and that's what's keeping them going. WWE has other revenue streams, and I don't think that WWE would be canceled, and they have the financial resources to survive for a while showing footage from the network. Jeff?
Yep.
Well, there's two schools of thought that I wanted to say. The first thing is if there's a risk of Fox or NBC Universal or who the hell ever, or Comcast, whatever the hell the parent company is called this particular second, I can't keep track anymore. If there's a risk of them canceling the deal because they're not, producing first run television, that's unethical, I think, on the parent company network's part, because we have our governors, our mayors, our president, whoever's saying don't do this. And if the TV executives, well, you have to do this, then you're a dick for one thing, and you're going against government regulations for a second thing. Also, yes, you guys made the other point I wanted to make. The WWE will never die. As long as that little thing that says WWE Network is on every device in the wrestling fandom, they will never die. AEW, unfortunately, they only have access to a year and a half worth of footage, number one. Number two, any Turner footage they want to dip into, they have to go to Vince because it's the way it is. So they're kind of pigeonholed for sure. I know somebody said Impact in the archives also in the chat room. Impact's got their Impact Plus. They're good too if they need to shut down. The NWA, I don't know what's going on with them, other than the fact that Lagana had to step off and they're trying to reevaluate their hierarchy management wise. They've got so much footage from the last 3 years, they'd be good for a brief reboot too. Everybody would be okay except AEW, and again, I think the fans need to be more understanding of, these guys and gals shouldn't be put to risk just so we can get our freaking rocks off every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. That's ridiculous on our part to expect that.
Now,
and
Jeff,
I think it's unfair.
There is that idea that people could band together and say, we're not going to work anymore. The problem with that, though, is that WWE will always find people that will be willing to show up and risk their health. Like, it's not going to matter.
Like, there is so much underlying mob mentality in the wrestling business that there'd be no problem. There'd be no qualms on management's part to go, oh, you don't want to work with us? Well, we have this and making you work. And off you go. You're gone. Goodbye. Never heard from again.
Pretty much.
Now,
Jeff, it's interesting. Go ahead, Aaron.
Oh, I was just going to say, before you finish your thought or go to the next topic, I did want to read Psycho Jet Black's $5 super chat before it gets buried here. He says, Bart Gunn, Judy Bagwell, Rift Aronson, Jackson Riker, Lars Sullivan, Nia Jax, R-Truth, and TJS in a Money in the Bank ladder match.
Bart Gunn.
Yeah, Bart Gunn.
As long as he doesn't have to face Butterbean afterwards, Bart Gunn.
I'm kind of upset that EC3 wasn't in that match. I want EC3 to win that match.
Dude, I have a feeling Bart Gunn's going to be mentioned on every episode here on out. That is awesome. That's how you keep somebody relevant.
It's great. We have a running joke on Downtown Wrestling. We have to mention Sid's leg break every episode, so there's that running joke. Rewind, Greg and I have, I forget what Greg and I have, we have something, and this show has Bart Gunn. So every show I'm on's got their kink. I love it. It's good stuff.
Now, Jeff, you mentioned Fox, and guess what? They're scaling back, WWE Backstage. Even CM Punk and Bret Hart couldn't bring in huge ratings. Now, this is a wrestling talk show, very niche. FS1, yes, it's available to 90 million people. It's for sports. Sports games draw on that. Their highest rated show, albeit in the morning, is Undisputed with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp. And it
Yes.
only draws about 150, 175. They don't even have a primetime 8 o'clock show that's a non-sports game that draws huge. So when CM Punk and Brett, drew a 175, I was like, holy crap, for that network, not bad. Well, they had shows where they were getting 60,000, like really low, just really low numbers. Nobody was watching that show. Now, is this because of podcasts, availability of shows like that on the network? Why didn't this show draw? And is this a sign of concern with the Fox and WWE deal? Now, granted, that has nothing to do with SmackDown being on Fox and, the main bread and butter there, but ratings have sucked. Ratings were kind of low before the pandemic. I just want to know everyone's take on this. Could this be the beginning of a rocky relationship? Yes, there's the big contract, but Vince is doing everything he can to protect these contracts. His shows are starting to get scaled back. Big G, thoughts on this? Oh, and I have to mention it. There's one particular dirt sheet writer. I don't think he's got a spot with Fox anymore because of this. But I'm not going to mention this.
I'm sure you guys are gloating
Big
about
G,
that.
what do you think here?
That makes my day. Go ahead.
Don't say that.
I think the only time I really watched backstage is when CM Punk was on. I think that was maybe twice that I watched it. Otherwise, I really never watched it. I mean, you have so many podcasts, so much content out there that you can watch. WWE's got the bump on YouTube and the WWE Network. You got After the Bell with Corey Graves. You got this. You got that, you got this, you got that. I mean,
Like,
it wasn't. If the ratings were so low, I'm sure they're like, well, we gotta take a step back and look. We're not doing so great with this. We're in this pandemic now, where everybody's got to pretty much do Zoom and do everything online through the camera.
Right.
And they were like, all right, well, we're not doing so good, so let's just 86 this, 86 that. Let's get rid of it. We don't need it. I'm sure, once Renee gets quarantined, I'm sure she'll go back to Raw or SmackDown and do interviews and whatnot. Booker T, he'll do his thing. Christian will do his thing and whatnot. So, I mean, I'm not really worried about that they got canceled. It's...
Well, they said they still might do some episodes. I don't know what scaling back means. Like, if they feel like the urge to have a bunch of stars on, Fox FS1 will let them put a show on.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they'll just do like every other week or something like that.
Like, I don't know. We'll have to see. But
Yeah.
I'm just wondering how this relationship's going, because before the Fox deal happened, we're sitting there thinking SmackDown's going to draw 3 million consistently every week. Now, we didn't have a pandemic then, but they weren't drawing that. It started going down and down and down. And then, of course, now I just wonder, and these TV execs, maybe these ones at Fox are wrestling marks, but Aaron Rift, what do you think here?
All right, well, we do have a few super chats here real quick. Colin Andrew, my man, with a $2 super chat says, cheers, gentlemen. Hashtag road to 200. And Psycho Jet Black, believe it or not, guys, his super chat here has no mention of EC3 for once. He says, ESPN should air WWE documentaries on the channel. Well, they're showing pay-per-views, and I know they're doing that on Fox. I mean, as far as backstage goes, I'm not surprised at all. I'm actually surprised, if anything, that it lasted as long as it did. Number one, too much content, like Big G said. Number two, terrible time slot. I hated having to stay up for 11 o'clock at night and try to
Eastern
On a
time.
Tuesday.
and listen for, well, I mean, it didn't matter to me, but what night it was. I just didn't want to stay up that late to try and catch some kind of breaking news that I would post on the site. I just didn't like staying up that late for it. And I just think, like, it's a watered down version of what people want to see out of that type of show. Like, Talking Smack was amazing, and if it was something like that, I think more people might tune in. But again, it's just too much, and you got so many shows, like Big G said, for people to listen and get perspectives from people that are not working for WWE. And Renee Young did a great job. And by the way, Jeff, I'm not sure if I misinterpreted what you said earlier, but she was on SmackDown. She was actually on the last show to present the Intercontinental title to,
She was.
to AJ Styles. So she was there very recently. I think it was taped last week before the testing was done.
Okay.
And yeah, I think Fox has got to be unhappy with the numbers, and obviously the pandemic has caused a quicker decline. But again, I wasn't surprised. I mean, I think Fox might have been more surprised than anybody else. I think every fan knew this is not going to last with these Fox numbers. They're going to drop back down over time. So, nobody's really surprised by any of this. And people were still questioning Fox's decision. And it seems like everybody knew that WWE was going to decline except for Fox. So, yeah, not a shock to me that Backstage is no more. And, yeah, we could see one or two specials, but I think it's pretty much done.
Now, Jeff, this is a thing I don't know if most people know. Prime time's about 8 to 11, standard prime time hours on TV. Nielsen reports say from 10:45 to 11 is the dead of prime time, like where just people turn their TVs off. And you have WWE had a show starting at 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
Right after people start to. So it was, to me, definitely inevitable. They were never going to get huge numbers in that spot.
Yeah, the only people that are up at 11 o'clock at night are, well, me, because I'm crazy and have podcast work to do all throughout the night, like last night. And, the Michael Myers, he starts at midnight. That's just the way he works. I'll see him on Friday and Saturday, hopefully. And, it's unrealistic of management on WWE and Fox's side to believe that you're going to have an audience that sits through, really 7 hours of first run programming each week, and then let's do one on Tuesday too for an hour at close to midnight. And with all respect to Aaron and being on the East Coast, that was one of the nice things about having the YouTube TV hookup was I could stay up till only 8 o'clock and watch Backstage if I wanted to, and then take my happy ass to bed. I don't have that luxury anymore, but I was unable to sit through Backstage because even with Punk on, I'm like, didn't we have this on Talking Smack and it was like way better with Renee and Daniel? Like it was a worlds better. And no offense to, anybody on that show, but I dare say the stuff that Aaron and I have done over the last 18 years, interviews and whatnot were far superior to what we were getting on FS1 every Tuesday night. And, far more insight, far more backstage stuff than they were allowing us to have.
And
so
Jeff, really, the only thing about WWE Backstage that wasn't totally controlled by WWE is CM Punk. He worked for Fox, not WWE, and his comments felt authentic. And I feel like maybe Booker T, Paige, Renee were maybe speaking their minds a little bit, but they're probably scared to really say something that would go against the company line. They got to toe the line, and they got to watch what they say and not offend the people that are cashing their checks. And that's why it's kind of a hard show to watch, because that it's very much controlled by WWE.
And it's like, honestly, it's, if the appeal of Backstage was, CM Punk's on and he's on every week, you have no appeal. You have no audience draw. And again, I'm gonna kick the horse while it's already turning into glue at this point. CM Punk is not the over-the-top relevant that he was 6 years ago when he bounced.
Well,
he's not.
To be fair, I mean, to see him show up on Backstage and talk about wrestling isn't exactly what people want to see out of him. He has been away for a while, but I think if he came back, it would be a different story. Like, I think he would move numbers. He would get people buzzing if he actually got in the ring and did something physical. And real quick here, Jeff, Psycho Jet Black, maybe you'll appreciate this super chat. He sent in $2. He says, Michael Myers cuts better promos than Ricochet. Any response?
True.
I can vouch for that. He does. Especially when it's Tyler Mane and he says
Michael Myers has that great music score that plays when he's around. And therefore he can say few words, if any.
It's so funny. I can put on the entire first movie soundtrack and not get bored at any point in that entire album. It's good. It's quality stuff.
With Dr. Loomis in the background. Oh, what a great combination. Now we're going to move on. Charlotte Flair recently an injury angle at the expense of Nia Jax, our favorite. And, initially we're getting rumors she could be out a long time. And it was crazy to hear these rumors because Becky's out. Charlotte would never do that. I'm sitting there thinking, all right, what's going on? Big injury, pregnant? No. And then Aaron, today, she kind of made a statement, I believe, just a few weeks. So I wonder if she was going to be out longer, And maybe with what's been going on and people are dropping and they're going to have to add, who knows who else has been tested positive. Maybe she's like, well, they're going to need me. I don't know. But what's your take on the Charlotte thing? 3 weeks doesn't really seem like time off. I mean, if she would have been off for months, I would have been like, wow, holy crap. No Roman, no Owens, all these other people. Becky's gone. Jeff, what do you think here?
I honestly am kind of relieved on a few fronts that she's taken a step back. Number one, there is no bigger Charlotte fan, I think, in the NoDQ team than good old JM. But way too much of Charlotte. When she was NXT champion, she was on every show every week. Like, holy crap, that's a lot of Ashley Flair. That's a lot of Charlotte. Like, okay. So when she lost the title, I was like, okay, maybe we'll scale back. And it didn't scale back. It just kept happening. It's like, whoa. I honestly think that she stepped away for that reason because she realized that the fix was in as far as the fans really starting to shit on her. And also, this is a little touchy, and forgive me, there is stuff in her past about the other thing that's going on in wrestling besides the COVID. So maybe she's stepping back to go, I don't need to be in the middle of catching the heat all over again. I wrote my book. I said what I said. I don't want to be up in this crap storm again, right? So that's just my own personal belief. I don't know her. I've never talked to her, never talked to her family. Don't think I've talked to anybody she's been involved with. So I don't know. I'm just making conjecture. I just think that if any time was the good time to step away between overexposure and not being caught up in the speaking out stuff, good time to go.
Now, Big G.
Yeah.
Who else hasn't been on TV? Has Shayna came back yet?
No. See, I'm curious. She hasn't been on TV since Becky left. So I'm wondering, do they not have anything for her? Or is she being smart like Roman and Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn and just staying off of TV so she doesn't, get caught up in this whole COVID situation?
I think Vince gave up on her.
Or even that, it's just mind-boggling. I mean, like Jeff mentioned, we had an overexposure of Charlotte on all three brands, but you couldn't put Shayna out there. Even Bianca Belair, they called her up just like that. She was on on Raw for maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and now she's got nothing to do. So I'm just like, too. It's just mind-boggling. You have such great talent, but I don't know why Vince gives up easily on these people. You pay them, I don't want to say millions of dollars, but they get a good amount to wrestle and to be on TV. So
let me ask you this. We know Charlotte's one of Vince's favorite because she's been on every show, overexposure, getting put. Do you think maybe she was going to take a longer hiatus for whatever reason? And when I say longer, we don't know. SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, who knows? And maybe Vince and company talked with her and said, we need you back sooner. And upped some money, gave her some extra cash. I don't know, because it's just, it's crazy. Like, why, if you're only going to be out a few weeks, why even talk about it? Just do your injury angle, let it fester for a couple weeks, and then come back, finish your program with Nia. It's just weird. There's something more to this with her. I don't know.
Well, wasn't there an elective surgery that she had to get done or something like that I was reading?
And maybe it was very minor. I mean, usually, to have something done and come back in 3 weeks, and she could come back in 3 weeks and not really work for several more if she's still recouping, but still do TV. So maybe that's the case. But I don't know.
Maybe she wants to start it. Maybe she did mention starting a family with Andrade here eventually soon.
Well, yeah, that's why I did I retweeted Aaron's report on that, and I said she's pregnant, because of the Becky thing.
So, it's good to take time off every once in a while because, you don't want to burn yourself out. And I think with Charlotte being literally on all three shows the past couple months, I think she needed either the surgery or what Jeff said, with everything going on. So,
yeah, and maybe a month will be just enough for her. Aaron, any takes on this? Any other rumors or news regarding her in this whole thing, or is it pretty much what we just said?
Okay, well, Psycho Jet Black with the $2 super chat said, what's going on with Bianca Belair? I guess
gave
they
up pretty much.
Creative.
I guess there's just no creative idea for her. There was a comment in the chat room about maybe she could team up with the Street Profits against Andrade, Angel Garza, and Zelina Vega in a 6-person. So there you go. There's something for her to do. And
Didn't they do that when Bianca first came up? She was in a 6-man tag with them.
Yeah, well, got to do those rematches, right?
Oh,
Aaron, are you suggesting logical booking from WWE right now? Come on.
Yeah, I'm suggesting rematches, which is I'm not suggesting it, but I'm saying that's something that they could do because that's something that
and honestly, as far as the rematch goes, you have the initial 6-man, then you have a tag, then you have a women's match, then you can break it up. They are moving parts. You can move the puzzle around, Vince. You really can.
That is true, but the thing is, like I've said before, the NXT is like a toy chest, and Vince pulls out the toy that's really popular, and some toys he'll like more than others.
Well, he didn't hold out on Matt Riddle with the controversy around him. He went full bore.
Well, let's see what happens on SmackDown the next couple weeks with Matt Riddle before we jump to conclusions on that one. But yeah, regarding Charlotte, I think she should take some time off, but at the same time, WWE can use her star power. And I'm not anti-Charlotte. I think she's a really solid performer, but I agree with what both Jeffs said, that she's been on all 3 shows. She's overexposed, and I would not mind her taking some time off. Unfortunately, it's bad timing because Becky Lynch is gone being pregnant, and the women's division needs some star power. Unfortunately, Vince has decided that Shayna Baszler is not the toy he wants to play with anymore. Maybe you could have Paul Heyman with Shayna Baszler. It's a shame because she was so hot in NXT as far as her credibility. And
well, Aaron, it's simple for stuff like that. Like, there's plenty of women in the main title pictures, so you could we're talking about Charlotte here. Team up Charlotte and Shayna and let them be a tag team to go for the tag team titles. Because then maybe that could help Shayna being with Charlotte, and then nobody's pissed at Charlotte as much because she's not in the main title picture like she always is, even though she's in a tag title picture. I mean, it's easy stuff that you can do to buy the time. They can't even think of that.
Yeah, but I mean, I think Charlotte could benefit from a break, a good 3-4 month break, in my opinion.
All right, this next one. Drew McIntyre is your WWE champion. Poor Drew, just getting the title during all of this and not getting that. The fans were getting behind him with the live crowds, the 1, 2, 3 Claymore, and now they're just throwing opponents at him for easy. See, what I don't like about this, Aaron, is he's going to retain. I like to know that a challenger could maybe have 20% chance of winning, not a 0.2. And anytime they need somebody to put on a great match. In a title match, they bring in Dolph Ziggler. And I like Dolph, but it sucks for him too. So it's like, how can we get excited for this feud, even if it's a one-off for a pay-per-view, when we know the outcome already? So Big G, this is the biggest. Ziggler is the biggest in a title match.
Yeah.
Rinse and repeat that Vince McMahon has used the last 5 years.
Yeah.
And it's good that Dolph gets in the big matches, but they don't seem as big when this constantly happens and he's going to not go over. Thoughts here, and it's bad for Drew, I think.
Yeah, I don't want to say they put Drew in a tough spot. I mean, we really didn't see this happening. Like you said, during the Rumble, I mean, the crowd was behind him with the Claymore countdown and whatnot. And, I mean, he's getting support everywhere else on social media and whatnot, so that's good. Yeah, they're just feeding him opponents until SummerSlam, possibly Randy Orton, possibly Lesnar coming back. If the travel ban and everything is a little bit better.
But I mean, you know what I mean? Like, they had Lashley, and it's just a one and done, right? Now let's go to Ziggler.
They're just feeding him opponents. That's all they're doing, because they don't know. What I feel is they don't know who to put against Drew McIntyre that will actually have some meaning behind it.
Well, Brock and Roman, there's a lot of guys that, I mean, even Kevin Owens.
Kevin Owens,
even though he's a babyface, they're not there.
Yeah.
They're not there to do it.
And I mean, he beat. See, I figured he would. Go ahead, Jeff.
No, finish. I just want to let you know I have an opinion, but go ahead and finish your thought, please.
I'll come to you next, Jeff.
So I was thinking, they would have kept on continuing the storyline with Seth Rollins, because at least Seth Rollins, he's got some credibility behind him. Not that I'm saying, Ziggler and Lashley don't either.
But they don't.
But I figured, they'd continue on with Seth, but now Seth is doing this whole thing with Mysterio. So like I said before, they're just feeding him opponents left and right until SummerSlam, until they can.
Well, what are they going to do at SummerSlam? Are they building Orton for that spot? I mean,
I hope so.
Oh, Jeff, well, Big G, I'm going to pass Jeff now.
Go ahead.
Probably exposed what he was going to say.
The entire chat room is going Orton. So I'm throwing it out there. I know you're not. I am. I have monitor too on the chat every time I'm on. Yeah, because Randy Orton's the guy right now. He's punting legends. He's killing legends again. He's the hottest heel on the Raw brand right now because Seth Rollins is cooled off, man. Like, it's sad because Seth Rollins has talent for freaking days, and they put him in. I'm not blaming Mysterio because Lord knows I've done enough the last 14 years of Rey Mysterio. But a feud with Rey Mysterio at this stage of Rey Mysterio's career is only because they're trying to build Dom. Right, that's the only reason they're trying to get this, because they're trying to get Dominic into that spot. Randy Orton is your ready-made guy. When Drew beats Dolph, because it's gonna happen, because it's Dolph Ziggler in 2020. I'm sorry, love Dolph, great drinking buddy, but it's the way it's gonna be. You got to put Orton in that slot, whether they're in Boston, whether they're at the PC, whether they're in the backyard here wrestling in front of two people. It needs to be Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton at SummerSlam. Period.
Aaron Riff.
I agree.
Here we are with Ziggler again in a title match that we know he's going to lose.
I agree with Steve-O here, and I'll get to his point in a minute. Drew McIntyre versus Dolph Ziggler should be a Raw TV match, in my opinion, not a pay-per-view world title match. Steve-O said he feels bad for Lashley. Lashley should get a pay-per-view rematch at least. I would have preferred that over Ziggler. I would have preferred Robert Roode versus Ziggler. I know Roode is in Canada, but, I mean, WWE is an essential business, right? So they should be able to pull some strings and make it happen.
Well, without going too far into the darkness, there's some stuff in Robert Roode's past too about the speaking out thing that they probably don't want to have dragged out of the darkness.
Now, Aaron, back to Bobby Lashley. MVP's playing this great manager role right now. You'd think they would allow his character to get Bobby Lashley another match.
Yeah, you would think MVP would have that kind of
Shelton. Apollo, it's
Michael Gonzalez says he's more excited for Orton and Big Show than he is for Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler. Well, at least with, I don't know, because I feel like there's no chance in hell Big Show is going to beat Orton either. So it's like both matches feel like, we just got to do some filler until SummerSlam. As Psycho Jet Black says with a $2 super chat, Dolph Ziggler is a filler jobber to the stars. And, he lost that feud to Otis. And, I mean, last time we saw Ziggler and McIntyre in the same ring, McIntyre kicked his ass. So it's like, come on now. This is
we've already seen it.
Yeah, it's boring. It's filler. So not much else to say about it. I mean, whatever.
And the thing is with Ziggler, he gets that good contract. So to him, he's just working. I mean, I'm sure he wishes his career went differently in terms of a main event scene, but he's making a ton of money working for WWE. So that's what, and he's good, and he has all the respect for the locker room. Everybody wants a match with Ziggler because he puts them over, looks like $1 million. They look like $1 million. That's what Ziggler, as much as we are dwelling on Ziggler, we know he's going to lose. We also know it's going to be a really, really good match, right?
Well, it's good, Cherry said. But hold on a second here. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat, says, and thank you for this. He says, Adam Cole and Undisputed Era versus Drew McIntyre, ? I would not mind it.
Let's see what happens in 2 weeks first. Let's see if Keith Lee can become the dual champion. If that happens, then bring Cole up like now. But, and if not, bring Keith Lee up.
Right. Now,
either way.
Dr. NXT Scorpio said, what if Dolph pulled off the upset for shock value? That would be the biggest shocker since
it would be somebody else. Wouldn't you agree?
The only way that happens is if Otis cashes in on Dolph right away.
Oh, that's it. But
call it now.
They can't do that to poor Drew, though. Could they?
if they do that to McIntyre, what's left of the ratings will tank. Just so.
All right, we're going to start the main event now. We don't have to go full hour. Man, I'm burnt out from episode 100, but I think this will go for a little bit here. And
It'll go for a while.
Undertaker retired on a documentary. Now, Jeff, Aaron, we've seen this before. Ric Flair wrestled after the match in WWE with Shawn Michaels, okay? Foley's wrestled before. Wrestlers wrestle till they're either crippled or really sick or pass away. So I just question if he's never going to wrestle again, because when WrestleMania comes a-calling and Vince McMahon's checkbook opens, and as much as I want to believe this, I just believe this was a well-plotted out thing to say on a great series that aired on their network as a finale. I don't think that he's never going to wrestle again. I don't know. I could be wrong. Who wants to start with this one first? Big G.
Let me go last. Yeah, let me go last on this, if that's okay.
Undertaker's retired. What do you think?
Well, I talked to Jeff about this when he did his Talk Wrestling a couple days ago. Cheap plug, by the way, Talk Wrestling on the Jeff Bishop Network. He has nothing left to prove. I mean, he's done everything. I mean, he should have stopped wrestling back at WrestleMania 28, but I think he did it out of the kindness of his heart for Vince. I don't think it was all about the money. He and Vince go way back. I mean, yeah, they butted heads a few times, but he has been loyal to Vince since day one when he came into the WWE. He could have jumped ship to WCW if he had the opportunity to, but he didn't. So he has nothing left to prove in my eyes,
But he's one of those, and I'm going to cut you off and come back to you. He's one of those, like Ric Flair, for the love of the game. They get that thrill when they walk through that curtain.
I know.
Just like if you watch that movie, The Wrestler, with Mickey Rourke, that's a smaller level. I think that's what's going to keep it so hard for him. If he can still walk and breathe, and he gets an offer, an opportunity. Sure, in wrestling, you can always go back on your word to retire because everybody's done it.
Well, like Jeff said, the one person who thought
even Shawn kind of did it.
Shawn came back for one match,
twice.
But I think Rick went back to wrestling in TNA because he needed the money. He was probably in bankrupt or something like that. So he needed the money. So of course he was going to do it. He couldn't do it in WWE. There was no really other wrestling company around, so he went to TNA. Shawn Michaels, I don't know why Shawn did it. I thought he would have been the person not to do it, but he did. Undertaker, though, I think Undertaker's a different person, though. If he said he has no more desire, he's got a family he's in his 50s already. He's got a young daughter. He's married to the lovely Michelle McCool. And I think he's more focused on his family right now than he is wrestling.
Okay. Aaron Rift, because Jeff has to go last on this, which is fine, because I know this topic's his baby right here. So what do you think?
Okay, well, Adrian sent in a $5.
I have demands.
Adrian says Undertaker should have one more match. His final match should be in Saudi Arabia against Mansoor and put him over on the way out. Mansoor, that ain't happening. Jeff's done. You know what? I'm done too. I can't. No. We should all just walk out.
I like it.
You know what?
I just wanted to be different.
We're signing off.
Good night. That's it,
Good night, everybody.
That's it. Good night. That's it. We're done.
By the way.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
All right, we're back. So thank you for that, Adrian, even though you just pretty much gave us all a heart attack here by saying that.
So do it now. Jesus.
And Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat, says, I hope Undertaker does not end up in a wheelchair. I agree with that, Psycho Jet Black, and I think every time Undertaker wrestles, he is taking a risk because he's just getting older, and one wrong bump could jeopardize everything he's got going on outside of wrestling with his family. The Boneyard match was a perfect way to end his career if that's the end. It went down so nicely, got a great response, and if you guys have seen the documentary, you know that Undertaker was very happy with it. Great documentary, by the way. Make sure you check it out if you haven't already. That documentary pretty much suggested or teased that he's done. But I think if there's an opportunity, and not necessarily Saudi Arabia, but let's say Survivor Series, if for some reason there's a good opportunity that comes along, I could see him coming back for one more match. Like, it is the 30-year anniversary of his debut to the day, November 22nd, 2020. And if it's versus AJ Styles in the ring with a crowd, I think that's pretty tempting for him to come back and do one more match. I feel like he will do one more proper match, whether it's Survivor Series or WrestleMania. COVID is dictating things, so we just don't know. But if I had to bet, I would say we will probably see him wrestle one more time. And I like Tyson's deal, like with Survivor Series, Tyson's Paradise, AJ, Taker rematch, Undertaker wins. I like that, but maybe Undertaker could actually cut a promo after he loses and thank everybody and break character. Like, to me, that would be a totally cool ending for Undertaker to do that. And if Survivor Series isn't an option because of COVID, maybe he will do WrestleMania at the stadium in Los Angeles, if that even happens. So, yeah, I think we will see him one more time if I had to put a bet on it. But if not, Boneyard match was a great way to go out.
Now, Jeff, let me ask you this. Right off the top. In the next year or two, I'm not going to go beyond that because of their ages.
Right.
Honestly, do you think Shawn Michaels and Undertaker could do it on the stage one more time? At their ages right now, what we've seen from them the last couple of years, but together one more time. I just want to know what you think. Not saying it would happen. Go.
I think if any two of that group of four that caused that train wreck in Saudi could do it, it would be those two, right? Hunter is an amazing athlete. The guy can go. I mean, his arm was falling off his socket pretty much in the tag match, and he still finished the match because that's what Hunter does. His limbs fall off, he finishes the match, and then he goes to get surgery. That's what he does. Kane is perfectly good, doing the mayor thing. God bless Glenn for trying to steer the ship right in Knox County. Shawn, I was steadfast on the fact that Shawn would never ever come back. And I was
that's
wrong.
That's his last match right now, right?
Right.
Do you think he wants that?
Exactly. I was just going to say, the fact that he came back, I'm like, you know what? He'd only come back if it was going to be good. And you've got Undertaker, Kane, and Hunter in there with him. On paper, it's a dream thing. And it ends up being the worst things, well, up until Goldberg, Undertaker anyway. It was horrible. So I think that match alone will have Shawn and Undertaker going, Now, I say it happens at Survivor Series, crowd or no crowd. Number one, it's the day of his debut. Number two, it's Aaron's birthday. That's just poetic to have that on Aaron's birthday. So there you go. Also, there's a guy that I forget who it was in the chat room. He was born on the 22nd, 1990. So that guy's birthday, that's cool for him. Before the COVID hit the fan, I was saying that he should have his last match of Survivor Series and then do the big send-off at Mania, because Mania weekend is like 4 or 5 days off from the exact day that the streak started.
Yeah.
In the same city, damn near, because the sports arena is not too far from where the stadium is now in Inglewood. So that's just like movie poetry stuff right there, to have where the streak started, to have it be a send-off. Go in the Hall of Fame, go on stage at Mania in front of 100, whatever, 1,000 people. I don't know how many Sophie fits because it's not done yet. But that's a great send-off. Now, if we don't get Mania at the stadium, I think that he will continue on personally until we do get a stadium-style send-off for him, match or not, because that's what he deserves, and I think that he will convince himself that he can keep going. I think that if the COVID virus had not hit when it hit, that the last ride would have been the last ride for sure. The fact that the documentary came out and it was documented starting at the match that we all thought was the last match leads me to believe that it was going to be the end, and that the course of filming things and the fact that the Roman match didn't go the way you wanted it to go, and it just kind of kept snowballing year after year, month after month. So I think if it was a normal world, it would have been the end of his career.
Now,
Aaron, I rambled on. I apologize.
Oh, it's okay. It's all good in the hood. Curtis Butler had a nice idea here about Undertaker being in a traditional Survivor Series match where you could protect him, he could tag in, and he could even win it for his team. That would be interesting, Team Undertaker. And Undertaker was in a Survivor Series match in his first match. So you could do like Team Undertaker versus Team AJ Styles. I think that's actually a really nice idea. And that way you protect Undertaker and everybody else can do the workload. It'll be a great match. Undertaker can tag in. And I think part of the thing about that Extreme Rules match from last year was he was in a tag match where he didn't have to do a whole lot. He could just come in, beat up Shane, and everybody was happy. So Curtis Butler, props to you. I like that idea if they do something for Survivor Series.
Yeah, I did pick on Goldberg because that's what I do, but I did like Undertaker actually said that it was nobody's fault what happened with the jackhammer spot. So props to Undertaker for not, selling Goldberg down the river. That was very admirable of him, but let's be real.
I know.
Come on, Mark. Give me a break. But again, he doesn't want to rock the boat like like Bret Hart did on Broken Skull Sessions. Let's be real. So it's. I think that we're going to see something special at Survivor Series for him. It just depends on where Survivor Series is and how special it'll be based on location.
Yeah, and Michael Wayne brought up in the chat that it is still scheduled for Dallas, but there's plenty of stuff that's scheduled now, like from September on, and most likely it's all going to get canceled unless there's a vaccine or a cure or the numbers drastically decline. And right now, my opinion, and I'm not a scientist, so believe it or not, I don't think this is going to be over until there's a vaccine or a cure. And right now, they're talking about optimistically the end of the year, which, if that's the case, probably no Survivor Series in an arena, and maybe we'll get the Royal Rumble in an arena or stadium or whatever WWE wants to do. Adrian sent in a $2 super chat, says, Aaron, you missed my comment from earlier. Scroll up. See, I purposely do that just to get more super chats so people will say, hey, you missed my super chat.
I love it.
I think I missed Psycho Jet Black's one. WWE and AEW were jobbers to COVID-19. Vince is pissed. And that's the thing. Vince doesn't want to lose. So to shut down WWE, going back to earlier, to shut down WWE would be taking the big L to coronavirus, and that's not Vince's style. I saw Adrian's super chat about Saudi Arabia, which I did mention, Adrian. I'm not sure which one I forgot. I'm trying to
There wasn't anything after that. He's just trying to get attention.
He's just trying to stall for time here so he can
Well, with that said, because by the time it comes back, Darren, he might have more super chats.
Well,
let's go around the horn and do our plugs. So, Big G, I will start with you.
Well, Aaron said there's a super chat, so go ahead,
There is
Aaron.
one, and Colin Andrew wants to have it read here, so let me read it. He sent in $2. Thank you, Colin. He says, damn you, George Strait. Jeff knows what I'm saying. What is he saying, Jeff?
Oh, God. Okay, if you didn't watch the last ride, I'm going to spoil it, so sorry, kids. The last thing you hear is George Strait's song, Troubadour.
Yeah.
If you've never listened to Troubadour, when we're done here, go listen to that song and think about Undertaker's riding away. The cowboy rides away, and if you don't cry, you had no soul. I'm a ginger. I had no soul. I still cried. So
an Undertaker, he's not as good as he once was, but he's as good once as he ever was.
Oh, little Toby.
That's like the original NoDQ team. There you go.
That's like Caitlin's favorite country song. She plays that song like nonstop almost.
And that's why she's one of my best friends. Stuff like that.
I can't wait. I want photos of Caitlin and Aaron line dancing.
She's done it before. No, we actually did a video where we sang it, but I don't think I published it or anything.
Why can't we
line dancing, Caitlin? Get Aaron line dancing. All right. back to the plugs. Big G, Big
Yep.
Baller G.
So NoDQ.com/BigBallerG takes you to my Twitter page. NoDQ_BigBallerG1988 on Instagram. Jeff Feltz on Facebook. That's it for me. Jeff, your plugs.
Well, first of all, tomorrow on the Greg Cherry brand on YouTube at Greg Cherry Brand, you can find the latest episode of the NoDQ.com Wrestling Trivia Challenge, hosted by me, because that's just what I do. Steven Jensen, actually, from Fight Talk, one of my old buddies? Wow, now I'm a Power Ranger all of a sudden. One of my old buddies who welcomed me on his podcast when I was kind of in limbo with NoDQ. He puts up a fight with Greg. We'll see how it goes. I hope for the best either way. Hope for a good match. And then the post game right after that on youtube.com/Jeff Meacham. That'll be on my channel. The post game show immediately after, probably around 6:30, 6:45 Eastern, depending on when, I don't know when the show ends. So there's that. Talk Wrestling on Monday at YouTube and across my Jeff Meacham network, Facebook, Twitter, all that happy garbage. Next week on Rewind, we're doing the July 4th, 2002 episode of SmackDown. And if you don't remember that show, it's worth its weight in gold, brother.
Well, thank you, Jeff. And I think our last episode of 100 went well over 100 likes. So, Jeff, you know you have to get me on the docket to challenge Greg. I don't know how that's going to all work out, but that's for you to decide.
I already got it worked out, brother. Either way, you're the season finale.
Now, wait a minute. Now, if Greg loses the championship, does that mean Virtue faces the new champ? Or does he have to just face Greg?
No, Virtue will face whoever is champion at the end of the season.
So, hey, Virtue,
I might not face Greg. And then I'd still have to. So that would mean I would have to face whoever and still face Greg because Greg wants to face me.
Right. Well, what I want to see, what we're going to do, I want that money at the end of the season. So Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, everybody's so shopped out, their eyes are turning red and their feet are turning blue from walking around Walmart and Target because they're just batshit crazy. They're going to sit on their seats at 6 o'clock Eastern and watch Virtue challenge whoever has the temerity to step up as champion.
You will have to private message me to give me a time frame of the date we might do this so I know how long I have to prepare. Like, it's not going to be next week, is it?
No, you're good.
We're not going to pre-record something that long. So, okay, cool.
I will simply say we pre-record advance, but we're good for a while. You're okay.
Okay. With that said, so I don't know who I'm going to face. Aaron Rift.
Somebody in the chat room said they need to see this line dancing video. Yeah, Caitlin could teach me how to line dance to that.
Yes, you do.
Toby Keith song. She's like, I don't know about that, but
no, she can teach a line dance. She's good.
She can teach. I don't know if she wants a video going up on YouTube of it.
I'll let you guys know now. There will be some line dancing at the wedding next year.
Well, then Caitlin better teach me.
There we go. We'll film that. There you go.
Teach me how to Dougie. She's over here like just giving me the look like, you got to be kidding me.
Aaron, it is on you now to close the show and then back to me. So
we could do a YouTube channel where you teach me how to do all these different dance routines.
Live?
We're still live.
Yes.
She's gonna kill you. You need to stop and do your plugs.
I'm sure because everything's been done before. But is there like a YouTube channel with like a professional dancer and like a total buffoon, like and that buffoon's learning how to dance?
Even if there has been, that buffoon was not named Aaron Rift with a big following.
My personal channel needs some new content, so maybe we'll have to.
It's not just the Warren chatter.
You got any more?
I tell you what, Puro. All right, Puro sent a comment here. He says Aaron Rift should post a video of him line dancing if Dolph Ziggler wins the title. I'll tell you what, if that happens, I will publish a video. I'll have, maybe Caitlin will at least show me, and I'll attempt to do Toby Keith's "I'm not as good as I once was" if Dolph Ziggler wins the WWE.
Could this be a Zack Ryder winning the IC title moment?
And I'll even up the stakes. If Otis cashes in on Dolph, I'll do the worm on the air.
All right. Well, there you go.
I'm going to leave it to you two. You're the crew, the original crew.
Anyways, NoDQ.com. Stay tuned. Like I said, a lot of news and rumors in the world of professional wrestling right now. Not all positive. Not too much negative. But I hope you guys did enjoy this. It is our duty to bring smiles to everybody's faces throughout these times, and we do not have to risk anybody's health or well-being to do so because we are here in our homes. So thank you guys for watching. We appreciate your continued viewership and support. And even if WWE did shut down, we would have old content to discuss. We could fantasy book. We could keep the
We would bring
videos
back
going.
the panel, the NoDQ panel.
We could. So the NoDQ ship will keep sailing. Thank you guys so much again. Thank you to everybody for sending in super chats. And send in some topic ideas for 102. Anything you would like to discuss, anything that's on your mind, feel free to contact us on social media and make sure you follow everybody. Greg Cherry says, Aaron, send me a super chat and I'll dance. Is this for his live stream? Probably.
Yes.
We'll see. Maybe I'll have to arrange something for the next Greg Cherry stream. So yeah, subscribe.
Which is this weekend.
Yeah, subscribe, turn on notifications, check out Greg Cherry's channel, and thank you guys again. Virtue, let's wrap it up.
All right, follow me on Twitter at NoDQ_Virtue. Go over to my Facebook page, NoDQ.com/Virtue. That's all I got for this week. So for Big Baller G, for the West Coast Professor, Jeff Meacham, and for the Boss Man Aaron Rift, I am Virtue. We will see you next time. Thanks for watching.